Okay, so why does all of this matter? Because when it comes to eating healthy and stewarding the body that God gave you, working towards longevity in a body you're proud of, racking our brain space about tracking the calories you're eating is really just smoke and mirrors.
Do you struggle to stay consistent with healthy eating and just want food decisions to be easy, guilt-free, and sustainable? You're in the right place. Hi, I'm Chelsea, nutritionist and fitness coach who overcame restrictive yo-yo dieting and body image insecurities using simple nutrition tools, all backed by biblical principles. And now I help women like you find that same freedom with food so you can feel confident in the look and health of your body for decades to come. I'm ready to dive in with you. So grab that cute notebook you've been hanging on to and let's go.
Chelsea is the perfect person to speak on the topic of nutrition. She's been where we've all been at one point in our nutrition journeys. Difference is, she's cracked the code and made it simple and effortless. And here she is sharing all her secrets with everyone. What a blessing to all of us. Honestly, I could cry. Thank you, CC1255, for writing this review. I really feel like God has given me experiences and wisdom in the nutrition and fitness space so that I could help people figure it out too. So with that being said, welcome to the show. We're talking about calories today. Woo woo! Aren't you so glad you tuned in? I'm kidding. I actually hesitated to even make an episode out of this because I really despise the concept of calories as a whole. But I was on a consultation call with a gal the other day who wants to join The Sustainable Way, my one-on-one nutrition coaching program. And when I asked her what the biggest obstacle she's facing when it comes to her diet and the ability to get the body she desires, she expressed that she simply doesn't know how many calories she should be eating because everything she looks up tells her something different, which then makes counting calories really confusing and difficult. And this isn't the first time I've had a conversation like this. So as much as I resent calories, I believe the Lord is knocking on my heart to tackle the topic because there are a lot of us out there feeling the same way. So let's start by clarifying what a calorie actually is. Because when I first started my dieting era, I pictured calories as almost like little crumbs that would just accumulate in my body. And then I could run on the treadmill and burn those crumbs off. But it's just not that transactional. A calorie is literally a unit of measurement. It measures energy. Just like Celsius or Fahrenheit measure temperature, or liters measure liquids, a calorie measures how much energy is within a food. Specifically, a calorie is the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. I know it's kind of complicated. So when we eat, the food is broken down and then used as energy to fuel things like keeping our heart pumping, our liver and kidneys functioning, our brain sending signals. All of the fitness stuff is actually very secondary to those vital processes. In the same way that a car needs gasoline to run, bodies need calories, and we get those from the food we eat. I hope that's making sense so far. I want to make it clear that a calorie is a unit of measurement. It's not a physical entity. So let's talk about how calories are determined. Picture with me a little metal box in a fancy lab somewhere, and inside the box we have, let's say an apple. To measure the calories in that apple, we would place the box in a container of water, a predetermined amount of water. Then we would ignite the apple, light it on fire, and burn it up completely. From that, we would measure the increase of the water's temperature, and that is what determines the calories in that apple. So to put it simply, we burn the food, we measure the heat, and that's how we calculate calories. Of course, we don't do that with every food sample anymore. Now it's based on estimations of the 4 macronutrients, which are protein, carbohydrates, fat, and alcohol. Okay, you with me so far? This is where it gets a little confusing. You've probably heard the phrase calories in, calories out before, right? Meaning, if you eat 100 calories worth of food, you need to use at least 100 calories in order to not gain weight. On a very surface level, that makes sense and is mostly true. However, bodies burn calories or energy differently from one another. Think of it this way. A Ford F-150 pickup truck burns gasoline very differently than a Mini Cooper. Those two vehicles can put in 10 gallons of gasoline, even the same grade, but the mileage is going to be substantially different. In the same way, you and your sister can both eat a banana, the same size banana, maybe it's even from the same bundle, okay, but your sister may burn it as energy very differently than you do. So to simply say calories in, calories out is really not painting the whole picture. Food is not that transactional. There are so many other variables that influence the entire process. So let's dive into how calorie burn is determined in the body to give you a better understanding of how it works for you. Understanding that calories are a unit of measurement, specifically a change in heat, then measuring calories burned is determined by the heat your body produces, both at rest and during exercise. Now, the only way to really accurately measure this is by being hooked up to a very fancy machine, probably in a lab somewhere. So the more common measurement is really more of an estimate. And it's by tracking the oxygen we take in and the carbon dioxide we produce. And that's really just assuming that oxygen is used to burn calories and the amount of oxygen we take in is directly proportional to the energy expended. So basically, as you've probably noticed, the harder your body is working, the more winded you become. And the more winded you become, it is assumed you are burning more energy, aka calories. So, when you are at the gym and running on the treadmill, the calories that it says you've burned on the screen are very much a gross estimate. They are not considering your specific body weight and muscle mass to fat ratio. It's not considering the amount of oxygen you're taking in. It will show the same number of calories for me as it does for my husband if we're going at the same pace for the same amount of time at the same incline. But I assure you, he and I are not burning the same amount of calories. Yes, your wearable health trackers are much more accurate, like your Apple Watch or your Whoop band, but even their calculations are still based on general averages. For example, a literal equation to calculate your BMR, which stands for basal metabolic rate, which is really just the minimum number of calories you need to keep your organs functioning in a day. It goes like this. 447.593 plus your weight in kilograms times 9.247 plus your height in centimeters times 3.098 minus your age in years times 4.33. That's just for women. It's different for men. And this is just one of several formulas. Okay, so why does all of this matter? Because when it comes to eating healthy and stewarding the body that God gave you, working towards longevity in a body you're proud of, racking our brain space about tracking the calories you're eating is really just smoke and mirrors. True accuracy demands fancy lab machines, and even so, the variables of where you are in your menstrual cycle, if you have kids, your stress levels, how hot or cold your environment is, how much activity you have in a day, all of those things change the energy you need and how you burn the energy you eat. In my humble opinion, a much better way to track progress with your weight loss and health journey is to take note of your energy throughout the day. Do you have crashes? Can you think clearly and focus more than 5 minutes at a time? Do you get cravings and get the munchies midday? Are you sleeping through the night? Do you wake up feeling well rested? Are you making progress with your fitness goals? Meaning, are you getting faster or running further or lifting more weight than before? Do your clothes fit differently? Are you seeing muscle definition? All of these tell a much more accurate story about your progress than arduously counting this number system that humans made up in the 1800s. Nowhere in scripture do you find people stressing about the amount of calories they ate. So why should we? God gave us hunger and fullness cues. He made real food for us to eat. And He told us exactly what is and isn't meant for our food. I'll tell you what, if you stick to those simple boundaries, you'll never have to worry about a calorie ever again. I legitimately cannot tell you the last time I even looked at the number of calories in something to determine whether or not I should eat it. That's just not a consideration in my world anymore. And if you're tired of the calorie or macro or points counting methods and just want food to feel easy, but still get the health and body you desire, that is exactly what we do in The Sustainable Way, my one-on-one nutrition coaching program. I mean, I have former clients from over 7 years ago who report back to me that they are still putting into practice everything they learned from my coaching, and it doesn't even feel like work. That is exactly what I want for you too, sis. Your next step is to book a call with me at coachrain.com/nutrition coaching. Quick recap. A calorie is a unit of measurement. It's not a physical entity. And it measures heat and energy, which is used as fuel to maintain our basic physical functions. And getting a precise count of how many calories you need or how many calories you burn requires very extensive machinery. Plus, the calculations you can find on the internet are based on averages and generalizations. So at the end of the day, counting calories is ultimately way more work than the benefit you receive from it. Listening to your body and understanding how it's communicating with you is a far more accurate, better way to gauge your progress. We just have to learn what those signals are and how to read them.
I pray this episode was helpful to you, my friend. If so, could you do me a massive favor and take 30 seconds to write a review? This is the best way to bless me big and help more people learn just how simple eating healthy consistently can be. And if you want more value-packed info from me, head to coachrain.com and sign up for the Weekly Harvest, my weekly emails filled with recipes, how to use food as medicine, biblical nutrition, and more. That's coachreign.com for the Weekly Harvest. Blessings until next time, sis. Toodles.